I was very excited about Burn the Witch. How can you not be about a story written by a legendary writer? What can possibly go wrong? Well, everything. Everything went wrong. So much so that I am really impressed with how Kubo did manage to fail at every element of storytelling. Before I start, I just want to say that people don't give enough credit to the people who work behind the scenes to make these stories great. If the story is great, it is not just because of the writer. If you look at how these stories were first imagined by the writer and the final version, the difference is like night and day. But with Burn the Witch, it seems that those people went on vacation, and that's why Kubo ended up with whatever this is supposed to be. What probably did happen is that considering the huge success that Bleach manga achieved, one of the best-selling mangas of all time, Kubo was given the freedom to do whatever he wanted. And that's why things did end up the way they did, because there was no proper supervision or expectations. Maybe Kubo wrote the whole thing in between waking up and breakfast, and accidentally sent Jump the materials, and they did publish it without checking. I hope that was the case, otherwise I cannot see how someone in their right mind thinks this is good. It's baffling. As I said earlier, he did fail at every element of storytelling. Story, non-existent. No structure whatsoever. No storylines. No proper characters. Just because they move or utter sounds, that do not make them characters. There were no character traits whatsoever. Dialogue, non-existent. No visual storytelling. No action. No consequences. No mysteries. No threats. No goals. No directions. And no setups at all. This thing is more dead than the graveyards. So what is the point of whatever this is supposed to be? Me as the viewer, to what should I pay attention to? What should I be excited about? What thing in this story is supposed to impact me as a viewer? Where I feel happy or sad, or I am intrigued, or I laugh or cheer, or I am shocked, or any human emotion. Maybe I did figure out the problem. This story was made for non-humans and dumb people. Anyway, did anyone who watched this is wondering about anything they saw in it? Or is intrigued by anything? Listen kids, if you did not know this already, then let me tell you that talent does not exist. That word is used by two kinds of dumb people. It is all about the time you put in, the work you put in, and that's how you develop your skills. And skills are all that matters. But if you don't put your skills at work, then they are useless. And the best example here is Kubo. There is no doubt that his skills are legendary. But it is clear to see for anyone who knows how stories are written that he did not put those great skills to work. And that's why the end result is this garbage called Burn the Witch. And now, let's get into more details. The episode starts with a character / Kubo saying that fairy tales are bad. Now, if I did not know the writer, I would have stopped watching immediately. Because this is so lame and pathetic. Oh, he found something wrong with old stories? Wow, what a shock. What does he want now? A medal for this incredible achievement? He found one thing wrong? Great. I can find 10,000 things wrong. But what's the point? I think Kubo has forgotten what his job is. His job is to write the story and not tell us what he thinks is wrong with other stories. That's my job. And I can tell you that Burn the Witch is utter garbage. And that no one should waste their time watching whatever this is supposed to be. I would rather watch those fairy tales or even cartoons than watch Burn the Witch. They are bad, but at least there are some things that are fine. Too bad that I cannot say the same thing about Burn the Witch. Look, it is basic human understanding that the old stories are not considered good now, and that's why they stopped making them, and writers came up with new types of stories. So why is Kubo being Captain Obvious here, and telling us the water is wet, instead of writing his story? He's stating something that everyone knows. No one is arguing the opposite. But he's stating that through his character like this is something new, and the audience is in shock and thinking, wow, this is so brilliant. Why no one has figured this out before? Kubo must be a genius. Here's the thing. Those old stories are written like that because at that time, that's what people thought was cool. But now they are not. Now people think those stories are lame and with good reasons. But the stories that we today think are great the people in the future will think they are lame as well. That's how it goes. Things change over time. And this is normal, but it seems that it is not normal for Kubo. He thinks this is some revelation that only he was able to figure out. I think he's being very insecure, and he's trying way too hard to be cool, but he did end up looking quite lame and cringy. This is not the first time that I've seen this with the old manga guys who are writing today. The same thing that happened with Oda. The best example is what he did with the Cringe Lord. They read the new mangas, and they see that they are written very differently than the mangas from 20 years ago. So this is his way of saying the old stories are bad and my story is completely different. He's trying to differentiate himself from the old stuff, which I think is wrong. A writer should write whatever he knows best. I would rather watch an old story that is good than whatever Burn the Witch is supposed to be. But do you know what is the weirdest thing here? Kubo's explanation why he thinks those old stories are bad. There are only two explanations of why he is saying that nonsense. Number 1, Kubo is trolling. Number 2, he has never watched or read a fairy tale. He says that the reason they are bad is due to the characters not being in control. But those stories are not mangas or comic books. No character there has powers. There is no sensa there. No training montages. It is not that the Snow White did not want to use her Super Saiyan form, or Cinderella her Zanpakuto. This is so stupid. This is like me saying I did watch a horror story and I think it was bad because I got scared. Well, that's the whole point of a horror story. When it comes to fairy tales, the stories are about how characters react to these supernatural events, and not how to become a kung fu master. Seriously, I don't think Kubo has watched any fairy tale, because no one can be this stupid. But you know what is the worst part here? The character that Kubo did use to say all of that is a pop idol. The irony here is unbearable. That's why I'm wondering if Kubo is trolling. If there is someone that deserves to be called a Disney princess in our time, then it is the pop idols. Anyway, let's move to the next point. In the next scene, a character is hunting a creature, and I am being like a radar trying to find clues and piece them together to understand what the writer is trying to do. So at the beginning I thought maybe this is a story where humans fight these creatures who are causing problems to humans, and they are a danger to society. But 2 seconds later, that creature was dealt with ease. Well, that was anticlimactic. Even an amateur writer knows that is not how you start a story. But anyway, then we see these two characters go and get the reward for their work. At this point I thought, is this story about everyday life? How these two characters deal with everyday problems? Because everything so far seems so mundane and random. There wasn't anything that gets your attention, in terms of supernatural or deep or anything. But even after watching all the episodes, I did not get any answer. And the reason for that is because Burn the Witch is not a story. It is just some random dumb mundane things put together without any purpose or reason. But hey, that's not important. What is important is that fairy tales are stupid, and that's what matters here. But even at this point, I still did not give up, and was thinking, hey, this is Kubo we are talking about. Bleach is epic. There is no way this could be this bad. You know what is funny? When the first episode did end, that caught me by surprise. I was like, how can the episode end when it did not begin? Because there was no storytelling whatsoever. Nothing. There was not even a proper line or anything. But you know what I thought? Hey, this is like the calm before the storm. I am sure in the next episodes gigantic epic things will happen. But no. Nothing did happen. Just some random dumb things that makes no sense. Among the nonsense, there was one thing that caught my attention, and that was Reverse London. I thought, oh, this is very interesting. Finally, he did something. I like the idea of having two places exist at the same time. I was wondering how different they are from each other. There is huge potential to do something great. I like the idea. And the answer is nothing. There is no difference, just a name. Whatever there is in the real London, it exists in Reverse London as well. The only difference is that Kubo has slapped the word reverse in front of everything. Garbage, reverse garbage. Wow, what a genius. I wonder how he came up with that, and how long it took. 2,000 years, 10,000 years, or 1 million? Did he talk about this with anyone? Other writers, editors, friends, family, anyone? Because I am wondering how that conversation went. Hey, I got an idea where there are two places that exist at the same time. Oh, and what is the reason for that story-wise? No, there is no reason. Just because. Are you mistaking me for a writer? Because I'm not. I'm a painter. Actually, that would not be acceptable even for a painter. Anyway, finally, at the end, something did appear in the story that's worth paying attention, or so I thought. Since nothing was going on, I thought maybe that white dragon is important, especially when they said that dragon is one of the 7 dragons named after fairy tales that have been around since the founding of Reverse London. Wait, fairy tales? I thought Kubo thinks those are bad. So why he is borrowing for something that is bad? His words, not mine. Anyway, at that moment that dragon did seem like a big deal, and I thought finally this story has a purpose. A weak purpose, but something is better than nothing. But 2 seconds later the dragon is gone, in the most anticlimactic way possible. I think that's what this so-called story should be called, anticlimactic. It does fit 100%. And now let's talk about these legendary characters. If they can be called characters, because you see, a character needs to have traits, and I don't see any of them, not even the basic traits. Let's look at these two first. What impression did you get? Are they strong, or smart, or cruel, or weak, or cunning, or mysterious, or psycho, or anything? These two are so bland that even robots would make better characters. There really isn't anything to say other than they don't meet the criteria to be called characters. Now let's move to the next two. These two are passive characters. That's not a good thing. That's the same as saying an extra in a movie. Now, if you have many characters in the story, that's somewhat fine, like they are in Bleach. But here, there are just a few characters in the story. So this is totally stupid. It's like watching a movie, but instead of characters, there are just extras in it. But to a degree, I understand Kubo. Why come up with characters when you don't have a story? That would be just a waste of characters. By the way, passive characters are not used anymore in recent mangas at all. And then we have this guy. In 1 second, he's like, I will kill you, all of you are weak. And the reason for that is, well, non-existent. Because the best storytelling is when you don't tell anything. And in the next scene, he's asking for help from the same people that wanted to kill. And then he abandons all of that and is a different character. This is character development at its finest. No, it is not. This is what happens when an actor plays in different sketches and has nothing to do with stories. But good thing that Burn the Witch is not a story, otherwise this would have been embarrassing. I really regret wasting 1 hour watching this garbage. I really hope Kubo is not going to continue with Burn the Witch, because it is a 100% waste of his great skills. Even if he will try and do his job as a writer, I don't think this is salvageable, since Burn the Witch has no foundation or structure. Multiplying 0 with 100, it is still 0. The only good thing from watching Burn the Witch was seeing that great art style again. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.